morning. Welcome to Paradise Farms here in Dunbar. Today we have a very special presentation for you guys. As you know, we are two months into our 4-month pop-up market collaboration and partnership with the People's Federal Credit Union. Our next one coming up August the 14th, the second Friday of every month through September. But today we have a special presentation for you. We have Miss Jennifer Wood from West Virginia State University here with us today. She's going to give us a presentation about making some pesto while using Paradise Farms basil. And also after that, we have a special musical performance by Miss Wood playing her famous violin. So stay tuned with us, hang out with us, and see what we have to offer. Thank you. Miss Wood, it's on you.
All right. Well, do you want to introduce your lovely basil here that you grow?
Yes, ma'am. This is Paradise Farms basil. For those that don't know, the basil is a part of the mint family. Okay. It is used in a lot of Italian dishes. One of the more famous herbs that you could purchase.
What I found is when I used this basil a couple weeks ago for making my pesto, it had a delicious fresh taste. It was a lot smoother than the pesto I'd gotten in other areas of the city. And so what I'm going to do for you is make some pesto. I can't share my secret recipe, but you can follow along. And I use organic olive oil because it has a distinct taste, and I use extra virgin unfiltered olive oil. You can find it anywhere, any store. And I am pouring it. And you can use any type of Cuisinart. I started making pesto with my son Giovanni. He would sit at the table and pour when he was 2 years old. We would have a lot of fun together. And he would dip a spoon in only one time and taste it and tell me if it needed more garlic. So what became a little kind of bonding experience between my son and I became something that we ended up calling the Pesto Factory. So after I put in the olive oil, I want to really get the, I put lots of garlic in. So I've got about 4 or 5 cloves because I like really good garlic. A good garlic taste. And then what I also like to do is put pink Himalayan salt. It has a little bit more distinct flavor to me, a little more. And of course they say to salt it after, so I usually put it in the beginning and then taste it after I've made the whole pesto, just to see if it needs more salt after. All right. So I put about a teaspoon in. And then I start mixing. Okay. We have the power on. Oh, there, I see you need the power. There we go. Now the type of pesto I use is pretty much a traditional pesto. There are many variations of pesto. You can use spinach or you can add parsley, but I found this one just to be the traditional Italian type of pesto. And now I'm going to add my pine nuts. Got here, delicious pine nuts. Spatula. Sometimes if you can't find pine nuts, and they also are very pricey, you can substitute walnuts. They're pretty close in texture and about a third of the price. already smell the flavors. Okay, now for the secret. The cheese. So I'm not going to divulge my secret, but I have 2 different types of cheeses here that I'm going to mix in. So you can experiment at home with different types of cheeses to give it different types of tastes. And this is where you can get very creative, very expensive, and fun, right? So I would suggest just trying different textures, different types of cheeses, Parmesan, Romano. They all have different sweetnesses, different bites, different flavors, different strengths. And you want to check to make sure it is pretty well mixed. You can see I've got my old Cuisinart here. It's kind of a favorite of mine. You can use any type of blender you have. It's pretty well. All right, so let's see. I think I might need a couple more pine nuts. So the texture and the thickness is really up to you. Now for the most beautiful part, we're going to add our basil leaves. So, we're going to cut off some of the stems. And I would say really fill your cup pretty full. Your measuring cup pretty full of about 1.5 to 2 cups of leaves. Oh, they're really nice. Pungent smelling. Just chopping them. So there's one. And you can start feeding them into the Cuisinart as you are measuring. I almost feel like an artist as the color starts to change. I just notice the green blossoming. And being a musician, I hear the sound and then the smell emanating. Sometimes I just do it by sight as well. Like depending on how green it gets, sometimes I just don't even really measure. thickness. I think it looks pretty lovely. And the taste test can only be done once because you're not supposed to double dip. And if you're a cook, you want to just give it one shot. And as Giovanni would say, needs a little more salt. All right, just a tad. We're close to being finished. All right, you guys ready to taste it?
Oh yeah.
All right. And that is pesto prestissimo, which means a fast pesto made in under, what, 10 minutes? Here we have our beautiful, look at that color. I love that color. All right, so over here, you wanna come try it too? All right, so what we're gonna do, is the best way to try this is to take basil leaves, and this is what I ate in Italy. Is you put a little pesto on some Italian bread. Oh, the tomatoes! You need some of your fresh tomatoes from your nursery. Some fresh mozzarella. And can you tell us about your beautiful tomatoes here?
Yes,
These
yes,
are the
our
best
tomatoes. We have several different types here. We have our black cherry tomatoes. We have our yellow tomatoes, and also just a traditional red cherry tomato. My favorite is the one that you're cutting now, actually, which is our yellow cherry.
And when we cut these, we're supposed to go this way, or okay. These are so delicious. I just pop them in my mouth at home and eat them as candy. All right, so you should be the first. Maybe we'll give you some extra garlic and pesto. Garlicky pesto is what I meant. All right. Remember you're Italian?
Yes, yes. Oh. All right. So is this like sushi? Is it a one shoot thing, or is it like you bite it in half? How does that work?
Well, it depends on how messy you want to.
Gotcha. Let's see what we get. Delicioso.
Right, you've got the Italian. All right. So, and for our pasta, we have different types of noodles here. Pesto works well on many different types of noodles. My favorite one is actually the bow ties, but I think it adheres well to, we're gonna have other bow tie noodles. So we have other tasters in line, if they're brave. So I'm just going to paint these noodles. You could also use pesto on chicken. And I don't know, I can just eat it out of the bowl myself. But. So I think what we're gonna do is have a little tasting festivity here, and then I will get to be playing my violin in just a moment. What do you say, guys? All right.